Michael, welcome back to Woof Wisdom.
Yeah, great to be here again. And I think what really matters to dog owners is how does a product like this work for them? How does it work in the real world?
And the real world has a lot of different variables, right? The dog needs to be safe going from the inside to the outside, perhaps in just a split second. So I guess maybe the first question is, why is indoors even important in the first place?
That is a good question. I think that, first of all, there's a lot of advantages and functions that Halo provides that not necessarily all the competitor products do, but it does provide a lot of functionality while your dog's inside. And most of our customers, their dogs are inside most of the day, maybe 70, 80% of the day. So, for example, Halo monitors the activity of your dogs and feeds our Halo health system. So when you don't have the Halo on your dog, you're not going to be able to have that information about your dog and its health and activity and health and happiness. So it is important, but it's also from a safety perspective, very important. And that's because accidents happen. Dogs will run out the door when you open the door, even if you don't let them out. They will do that. So if you want true peace of mind and safety, you will leave Halo on all the time while your dog's indoors or outdoors, because in the event that your dog runs out the door, you should have peace of mind and confidence that it will not run away, that it is still protected. And that is very, very important. That's like the core mission of Halo and the core objective of a product.
And looking at the report, I mean, a lot of it is about what they call drift, right? So there are these drift charts. And on some of the devices, I mean, they could be 3 houses away when that's not even true, right? So multiple blocks away, just actually sitting near a window. So I guess it's really hard for you all to know exactly where the device is, where the dog is, when it's sort of in this in-between area of right near a window. It's not outside, but GPS thinks it is outside. So how does that work?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's very hard. I would say you have to learn through experience. There's no cookie cutter answer or recipe for how to do this and how to do it well. And that's what we saw when we looked at how our product works versus our competition. We saw a big difference. And this is something that is an effort that took years for Halo to improve significantly. We're always working on trying to make it even better. But it's a huge area of development, research and development for Halo. So what we would see and what we've had to deal with and what we saw in the competitive products is, like you said, if you're sitting, for example, your dog's indoors, it's sitting by a window, it's walking around the house, signals are coming in from space, but they're all coming in from one direction. And unfortunately, what that does is it tends to pull the position away from out of your house and away from your house. And if not handled properly, that could cause the collar to think your dog is running out of the fence, even though it's still sitting in the house. And that would cause false indoor feedback to your dog, which is a major issue because your dog's now very confused. Why is it getting feedback, potentially punitive feedback from these other products that it doesn't know what to do? It's confused. And that could cause jitteriness in your dog, or it could cause your dog to never want to wear the collar again.
And, thinking of this, not a great comparison, but I kind of think of it like, tracking somebody on your phone, right? They're going down the street and they go here. Well, it's that simple. It's not really that simple because dogs go in any number of ways. And I think you guys update this, 20 hertz per second? It's super, super accurate compared to what we might be used to with GPS.
Yes, absolutely. I think that most applications of GPS are periodic. Every now and then it's good enough to get the location for the use case. And for this application, it's really not. And that's because dogs can run very fast and they can get from a safe location in your property to a completely unsafe, like crossing the street, in well under a second. It's very easy for them. And what we found is most of the competitive products only look at the position once a second. One of them looked at it twice a second. But if a dog is running 20, 30 feet per second, then every second you look at the position, your dog is 30 feet away from its previous position. And that could mean 30 feet into the street where it could get hit by a car. So by looking at the position 20 times a second, we could reduce that so that we're looking at a dog's position every foot instead of every 30 feet, which is a big difference, and results in a more accurate, more timely feedback to your dog to keep it safe, because safety is really the number one mission of this product.
Now, I didn't see it mentioned in the report. Maybe I missed it, but I mean, I could see why maybe your competitors don't do this because that's got to take up a lot of battery life, right?
Yes.
It's just like checking all the time. And what if the dog's asleep? I mean, does Halo go to sleep and then wake up when it moves, or is it always actually on all the time?
Yeah, I think what we noticed is a lot of techniques that our competitive products are using to save battery. And we also now understand a little bit why. So their designs are running at a lot more power. They consume a lot more power than Halo does. What that means is they have to shut things down all the time. Otherwise, their battery life would be really short, unacceptably short. So we noticed that two of the products will shut their GPS down every time the dog will come to a rest. There's a lot of problems with that. I'll mention in a second. We also see them shutting off the connectivity to you, connectivity to the internet, shut off for periods of time. And they're doing that to keep the product keep its battery life going as long as it possibly can. Halo is able to achieve great battery life without doing that. We can leave the GPS on all the time. We don't ever turn it off, because safety and peace of mind are the most fundamental features of Halo. So safety means keeping the GPS on all the time so we can get updates on where all the satellites are all the time. We can be constantly monitoring the environment to see if it's a good environment where we can accurately report the position and track your dog, or if it's one of these complicated environments where there's drift or one of these indoor window conditions. If we're not looking at that all the time, then we can't tell when we're in a good position or a bad position and handle it accordingly. Also, every time you turn the GPS off, which these products do, and then turn it back on, it will take anywhere from 2 to 3 to up to 30 seconds for the position to be determined again. So if you can imagine your dog comes to a stop, rest somewhere out in your yard, and these devices turn off the GPS, which they do, then as soon as your dog gets up and runs out of the fence, product doesn't have a clue where the dog is, because it has to turn on the GPS first and try to get a new position, which takes it time. And if it takes 30 seconds to get that position, your dog could be long gone by the time it detects where it is. So things like that, I understand why they're doing it, because they're very inefficient. So they need to shut things down, but that results in lack of safety for your dog. And then when it comes to connectivity, we never shut that off either, because connectivity keeps you up to date on what's happening. When you open the Halo app, you can see exactly where your dog is all the time. You're never disconnected from your dog.
And just so we're aware, Michael, can you tell us the competitors that were looked at in the study?
Yeah, we focused on 3 products that we see on the market that are most similar to Halo at a high level, and that is Spot On Fence, Pet Safe Guardian 2.0, and Satellite or Saddle AI. The latter 2 products are pretty new to the market, trying to get into this market. So they seem to need a lot more work. They're a lot further behind on a lot of what they've implemented. Had a long way to go. Spot On's been on the market for a while, and we have seen them for a long time. But again, we see a lot of these same issues with Spot On as well.
And we talked earlier about, battery life. And where is Halo at right now? I forgot to ask you that.
Right. So Halo will run in always on with everything connected all the time for about 48 hours. That's a typical scenario. There are certainly things that will happen in the environment that will affect that. For example, to communicate over the cellular network, you have to transmit a signal that reaches the cell tower. And the further you are from the tower, the stronger you have to transmit. So for people who are in a more remote location, further away from the cell tower, it will use a little bit more battery. But regardless of that, in overall, when we look at the typical customer, they get about 48 hours with the Halo Collar 5. Some customer collars are getting 60 hours and some are getting 36 hours. But the typical, and by far the most, like the center of the curve, is about 48 hours.
And why that's great is if you're going on a trip, you don't have time to charge. Camping, maybe you don't have access to power for charging. You get a couple of days out of it on a typical scenario.
Yeah, 2 full days for sure.
Yeah. And I guess the other point that I'm kind of thinking of is looking at these competitors. What's so impressive with Halo is that you guys continue to improve the product. I mean, it's like a smartphone or something, right? I mean, it just gets better all the time. And I don't see the other ones on version 5 yet, or, something like that. So it just kind of shows your commitment to.
Halo has a huge commitment to being the state-of-the-art product, being the best product, not just in the pet space, but really in any Internet of Things technology. In every way, in the technology, in the app, in customer service, really in every aspect. We want to be the best product you've ever used. We're very proactive in communicating to our customers. When we see an issue with their product, we will let you know before you contact us. We'll probably see something and let you know, because we want to always be the leader in every which way. And I think we continue to move further and further ahead of the competitors. So whether that's investing in the hardware, like you mentioned, we're on Halo Collar 5 at this point. We're continuing to work on future products. So it's a huge commitment to ongoing development. The app, we put a huge amount of resources into making the best app that people have ever seen or used in the pet space. So huge amount there too. We're sending out updates about every 3 weeks. Each update makes the product better and better and better. Things like the battery life you brought up keeps getting longer and longer. Here, in fact, we just rolled out an update to all of our collar customers that will make their battery life even longer than it was right before.
Well, thank you for that commitment. As an owner of a Halo collar, using it with different dogs, it's just gives you peace of mind knowing that you guys are on top of all this, so we don't have to be. Thank you again to Michael Ehrman. He is co-founder of Halo Collar, and always great to talk to you, Michael, breaking down this complex scenario or complex data that you've got, but it really kind of boils down to how it really helps us in real life, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you again. I just want to one more time just remind everyone, all of this sounds very complicated, and it really is. But like you just said, the key is to have a product that just works. And that's really our goal. It shouldn't be complicated to you. It may be complicated to us to get it to work great. To you, it should be easy and just work.
Love that. All right. Thanks, Michael. See you soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.